So the performance monitoring tools we have looked at so far, Task Manager and Performance Monitor, Resource Monitor, we've looked at those monitoring performance on the local machine. But what if we want to look at monitoring performance on a remote machine? Well, we can do that. Actually, you can do that in Performance Monitor. You can also do that in the Windows Admin Center, which can be very, very convenient. So I've got my Windows Admin Center open. I'm logged in as a domain administrator. So I'm going to click on this server right here. It's going to connect me to the server. And on the overview screen, it's going to show me some basic system information, but it's also going to show me some monitoring information. So here is my CPU usage, here's my memory usage, here's my Ethernet usage, the individual statistics. I'm using like 79% of my memory. I've got 1.9 gig. I'm using 1.5. So this will give me some basic information. Now, I can also use Performance Monitor in the Windows Admin Center. I'm going to see here my extension for Performance Monitor. Now, if you do not see this extension, you can go to Settings and Extensions, and under Available Extensions, you can find Performance Monitor and install it from here. And I already have it installed, so mine's showing up here in Installed Extensions. But you can find Performance Monitor and install it from there. And it'll take a little while, but that's okay. It'll refresh the screen when you're done. Let me go back and show you how this works. Now, let me go here. I have something pre-built, but we're going to pretend like we don't for a moment, then we're going to come back and talk about it. So I'm going to go to Performance Monitor, and in Performance Monitor, I can use a blank workspace, or I can restore a previous workspace, which is grayed out, or I can use a saved workspace. Now, pretend like this doesn't exist for the moment. We're going to come back here in a minute. So I can go to a blank workspace, and on my blank workspace, I can add a counter. So here's going to be my objects, and this is basically everything in Performance Monitor. So here I can find my objects, and let's find our network adapter, and you'll notice the little things that pop up that say, hey, this is what this means. And let me do my bytes received, bytes sent, little tooltip telling you, hey, this is what this is. And then I can select my instance. Do I want which adapter or all of them? And so I'm going to say just select all and go with it. And there we go. Now I have my bytes sent and received for all of my adapters. And I can view this in different ways. So I have a report, I can do a line graph, a min-max graph, a heat map. Now these are grayed out just because of the sheer number of things it would have to display. So it's showing me this in a report. But you can see the one I'm getting traffic on is my Hyper-V network adapter. So I can choose to say, don't give me all of them. Give me my Hyper-V network adapter, add counter. Oops, I don't need to add a counter. Let me delete that. I can do an add counter, and it will add an additional one down here. Now this one will let me do it as a line graph. And here's my information, my little line chart. Okay, now we're monitoring information on a remote device using Windows Admin Center. Okay, now, a couple of things here. Number one, my settings. I can set a workspace name. I can set the time range. I can set the color scheme. I can set the font size, anything I want here. And then when I'm done, I can save my workspace. Now, the reason we save our workspace is so that we can come back to it again. So I already have one saved, so I could go to save and save this one as. I'm not going to. I'm going to come back to Performance Monitor, and I already have a saved workspace here for my processor usage. So It was last modified at this time. This is when it was created. I click on that and it opens that up for me and starts giving me that information immediately. And again, I can add a counter if I want and then save my workspace so that I can use it again. Now, one thing with the saved workspace is it allows me to come back and look at these statistics again because I already have an established workspace. Let's hop over to Server Manager and let me look at my new Bassett 301.local. And I want to look at Performance Monitor. And you're going to notice I have no workspace. So the workspaces are actually saved on a per device basis. So it's not at this point. Now notice Performance Monitor is still in preview. So maybe they'll change that. But at this point, if I save a workspace for one device, I do not have that same workspace available to other devices. Now, one of the things that I can do, though, let me come back to my Server Manager. And let me find I was doing that on DM2, I believe. Go back to my Performance Monitor. I can select my workspace and download it. You can also delete it. So if I download that workspace, that's going to download as a JSON file for me. So what that allows me to do is then save that workspace with other people, or I can do this. I can go back to my Server Manager. Let me go to my new Bassett device. Let me go to Performance Monitor. And this time I want to upload a file. And it downloaded as a JSON file into my downloads. So I'm going to select that and hit open and submit. And that's going to upload, and now I can use that same workspace on this device as well. So kind of convenient. All right, something to be aware of when you are monitoring, when you're monitoring statistics, especially if you're monitoring them fairly frequently, like this is updating every second, that is going to add a little bit of load both to the server that I'm monitoring and to the network that's having to carry the traffic. So just things to be aware of. You're probably not going to want to monitor heavily and for a long period of time. You're just going to monitor long enough to find the issues that you need to find or to get yourself a decent baseline. All right, there we go. That's how we can monitor performance using Windows Admin Center.